There is a huge misunderstanding being spread around social media when it comes to unschooling. Unschoolers are being depicted as kids who can't learn anything. They don't know how to read, write, do math. They'll never grow up to be functioning members of society. And that is just not true. I'm going to set the record straight and show you what unschooling can look like as kids enter into their high school years, when they become teenagers, when they're becoming emerging adults, and how, when given an environment that is developmentally appropriate and encourages learning, they can thrive and become truly self-motivated learners. So I have a 16-year-old who has been mostly unschooled, and I'm going to show you what her educational plan looks like for this year. If she was in school, she would be, a sophomore, junior. We don't really do grades like everybody else does. But she's working on getting high school credits that will go onto a transcript. There's a misconception that unschoolers never use curriculum, and that is not true. You don't have to use curriculum, but especially as kids get older, curriculum can be used and is seen as a tool. Just like if you, an adult, were wanting to learn something, you would gather resources to learn the information that you're wanting to learn. You might go to college, find a course online, read a book. There's just so many different ways to learn things, and that is the way unschoolers learn information. There's a lot of really great curriculum out there that kids can choose to use to study the things that they're interested in. Unschooled teens are aware that one day they are going to be adults and they are going to be responsible for their lives. And they have goals that they want to reach. They might want to go to college or get a particular job, have a career. Maybe they want to travel. They want to establish relationships with other people. All of these things are important to everybody, not just people who go to school. These are innate characteristics of humans that is universal.
Okay, so let's see what my unschooled 16-year-old has chosen to learn about this year. I have obviously blacked out her name and stuff. So her number one goal this year is to get into community college. Our local community college, she is able to dual enroll. And so she can get high school credits and college credits and go ahead and get into college and start taking college classes. Her goal is to go to college, and she would like to get a degree in a science medicine related field. So, she knows that she has to take certain classes and know certain things in order to do that. So in order to get into the college, she has to take a placement testing in October, and then registration for January classes begin October 31st, and the deadline is October the 6th. So this is a Google Doc that her and I share together. So we can kind of both edit it and look at it and make notes on it together. And this is just kind of like our way to keep everything organized for the year. And at the beginning of every year, we kind of sit down and we talk about it for a little while and kind of just I help her meet her goals. I will say that we've been homeschooling for like so many years that she had a 95% plan of what she wanted to do already. And, she just kind of talked it over with me more so than me, telling her what she should do this year or like giving her advice. She kind of already knew what she was going to do. So last year she took a Algebra 1 class, and this year she wanted to do geometry. We used teaching textbooks. We started teaching textbooks at the pre-algebra level when, they're starting to enter their teenagehood and they are thinking about going to college. Before that, we do a lot of just life math, but she did algebra 1 last year. This year she's doing geometry. And this is just an online class where there's an instruction, then there's questions afterwards, and it goes over any questions that you missed and it helps you understand the material. It's $72 for per class, and you have 12 months to finish the class. Her goal is to do geometry for the rest of this year until December, and then in January do the Algebra 2 class. Now, when my kids were younger, we tried this and they didn't like it, so we dropped it. She's also going to use Khan Academy for English 10 and SAT prep. Khan Academy is completely free, and there are so many good online classes. We have used this off and on over the last 10 years to take different types of classes. There's all of these math classes. My kids don't really like these math classes because I don't know, they just don't really like it. The Some of the older classes are kind of not very engaging, I guess, but they are all free, and this is a great, resource to make education accessible to everybody. There's all these life skill classes. My oldest daughter, who has graduated, took most of these classes, like personal finance, careers, college admission, financial literacy, social media literacy. These are all really good classes. There's a bunch of science classes. This is the SAT prep that she'll just take. She wants to take SAT prep because the placement test in the college, we don't really do testing. So she wants to kind of practice testing. So she's prepared to take like a timed test. It'll help her know how like the questions are asked and just so she feels more confident on how to take a test because that is a skill that you should learn. I guess like if you go to college and stuff, it is important to know how to take a test in that situation. So there's these computing classes. This Pixar in a box class is really cool. My kids did that middle school level. Arts and humanities. There's AP courses in here. I've used this when I was in college. I did A&P here. We've used this when my husband was in college for chemistry. He came over here and got some of the chemistry information from here. This is just a great class. Oh, and then she's doing this English. Where was it? Reading. English 10. She's taking this class. 10th grade reading and vocab. And this is just kind of laid out where you watch a video and the answer question. And it's like a mastery thing. And you just move on through the course. And it has like little winning streaks. And it's kind of set up like a game just to help keep kids motivated. Bunch of stuff on here also for little kids that you can do. Next, she wants to use Great Courses for Latin and chemistry. Great Courses is another program that we have been using for years. These are kind of like college lectures. They're set up like college lectures, but they're videos. And there are so many different subjects that you can get into. Let's look at the history, ancient history, and then there's all these different subtopics to ancient history. And you can just, I'll leave the link to this website so you can go look at all this stuff. But let me show you what she is doing. She added these. So we've got 16 programs in here that I have a couple in here too that I'm planning on watching. But she is going to be taking this, the decisive battles of world history, a brief history of the world. Let me kind of show you what the classes look like. So there's 36 lectures. Each lecture is about 33 minutes long. And it is like a whole college level class on the history of the world. These are very engaging and interesting. And then I think all the classes, or almost all the classes at least, have a guidebook, which is kind of like a textbook to the class. And you can go through and read what the lecture was about, kind of. It's in a written form. And then there's also questions at the end of the section here that you can kind of, if you want to answer these questions for a little more critical thinking, you can. But she is also wanting to watch how the Great Migration changed America, how the railway transformed the world, geometry. So she is taking, the geometry class on teaching textbooks, but this is a little bit more of a deeper dive into geometry and understanding it a little bit better, like a bigger picture view of geometry. And like when you learn something, it's better to learn it various different ways and it'll really cement the knowledge into your head. And it just makes you understand it a lot better. Biology, I think she did this one last year. Understanding the periodic table, chemistry, algebra 2. She'll do this when she does her algebra 2 class. And then she loves classics, how to read Shakespeare, Jane Austen. This is my class. How to raise lifelong learners, the art of storytelling, writing creative nonfiction. These are the 3 classes that I am planning on taking. I've already started this art of storytelling and I am several lessons in and it's very interesting and engaging. Um, Another chemistry class and then Latin. We don't always use this and you can cancel your membership at any time. They have several different, uh, what do you call it? Membership options, payment options, and it is $33 for a quarterly subscription. That's the one that I am doing. You can also get a monthly subscription or a year-long subscription, but they usually do like a free trial. So I'm sure you can try it out for free and see if you like it. Highly recommend this though. We've been using this for years. And then World History 2 with Build Your Library. Build Your Library is my all-time favorite curriculum. It is a literature-based curriculum, and we have done a lot of these levels 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, and 12 between my kids. So last year she did level 10 and she did the whole thing, and that was World History Part 1. And then this year for World History Part 2, we decided to not buy the curriculum this year because she wasn't really going to have time to do a lot of the like projects in it, the writing projects and stuff like that. So she is actually just going to be using the book list from Build Your Library and reading through a lot of these books, mostly these literature books. And the way that she does this is she encompasses history and literature together, and then also poetry and science, and it just all meshes together so well. It is only $60 for an entire year's worth of curriculum. It is very, very cost effective, very affordable. We get the books from the library, so those are free, or we'll see if they're on audiobook because our library has like where you can do like Libby and Hoopla so you can listen to audiobooks for free. But this is just the sample page of the Build Your Library curriculum. These are all the history books, the chemistry lessons, all the literature books. These are the books she's going to be reading. The most of these she'll try and get through. And then poetry, history of the English language, which sounds super cool. Art, optional resources. And then these are the high school credits that you can put down on a college transcript. World history, chemistry with a lab, literature and comp, poetic forms and poetry writing, history of the English language, drawing. So she's just going to be doing the literature books, but they're all based on world history. So she's going to be doing like the world history credit with the great courses classes that she is doing. So at the end of the year, we'll kind of go back and see what else she did to see kind of what credit she'll actually get. We sometimes just have to create our own like class based on what she's done. And then these are just notes down here for the curriculum she's using and the classes she's taking with each curriculum. And guitar, she has taught herself how to play guitar and she's really good and she learns that online. She just watches YouTube videos and is surprisingly really good at guitar. So that's going to be kind of like her music credit. And she also wants to work on getting a part-time job, which involves creating a resume, interview skills, work experience if she gets her job. So these are all the things that she's going to work on. And I think there's like some classes on Khan Academy that are probably help her do like creating a resume or interview skills. If not, you can look up videos on YouTube on how to do these things. There's tons of information, but she'll just be deep diving, researching into doing that. And I mean, that is, what she has decided to do this year, which is, not sitting around doing nothing, not learning anything. This is all self motivated based on her future goals.
One huge benefit of kids who do not go through a traditional education model have is that they are intrinsically motivated to learn things. So there's two different types of motivation. You can have intrinsic motivation, which is internal motivation. You desire to do something because it is enjoyable or is interesting to you without the need of any outside reward or validation. Extrinsic motivation is when you are rewarded by an external factor, such as a reward or fear of punishment. When kids are in the public school system, they are not intrinsically motivated most of the time. They are being rewarded with grades or punished by, failing, pressures from their teachers, their parents. They're rewarded by going to college, like doing all of these outside influences. And that actually decreases motivation. Studies show that when people are intrinsically motivated to do something, they learn better, they perform better, they are resilient when faced with challenges, they are able to better set and reach goals, and they have better social relationships because they are connected to people who truly share in their interests and passions. This is a very well known and validated scientific research topic that people learn better through intrinsic motivation. Yet we are still putting kids in schools in situations that are putting grades, test scores, pressures from society, the school system, from parents. All of this is demotivating students. We know that. And yet the school system is still doing it. A lot of the reason why people do not understand how a child would want to learn anything without being in school, without it being forced on them, is because you've been through the traditional education model. You have been demotivated to learn. It has been forced on you, and you haven't been allowed to just relax and learn things that you truly care about. It is human nature to be curious, to learn things. Kids, when given a good environment that promotes education, that values learning, you do have to do this in an unschooling environment. You can't just let your kids watch TV all day, play video games all day, run wild, and never encourage learning and never present them with topics that they might be interested in and might want to learn about. Being an adolescent is about finding yourself as an individual and kind of breaking away from your parents a little bit. And adolescents know and want to become independent adults, and they are looking forward to their future, and they need help setting goals and knowing what all their possibilities are. But all you have to do is present that to them and be like, hey, these are your options that you can think about as you become an adult. You could go to college. What kind of job do you want to do when you become an adult? Do you want to work for somebody else? Do you have any special interests that you want to focus on? A doctor, a lawyer? Do you want to start your own business? Do you just want to own some property and live off the land? Well, if you want to do that, you still have to make a little bit of money. So let's figure out a good way, maybe a trade skill that you can learn so that you can make some money to live the life that you want. Do you want to travel? Do you want to join the Peace Corps? I mean, these are all really interesting things that kids can start thinking about. And once they kind of pick a path that they maybe want to go down, then you need to be like, okay, so this is where you want to go, and let's work on getting there. You're going to need to go to college. So you might need to take some math classes. Let's do algebra 1, algebra 2, geometry. Let's learn how to write papers so you can write a good paper. Let's read some good books together to better understand history. Like, there's so many very simple things that you can do to help motivate your kids to learn. And when they have a goal and a place that they want to be that is intrinsically motivated by them, they'll do it. They will want to do those things themselves without any force. It really, really does happen, and it really is that simple. So, if you want to better understand unschooling or just homeschooling in general, make sure that you are subscribed because I have a lot more information to share. You can also ask me any questions you might have down in the comments below, and you can also check out this video next. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time.